Fighting an enemy as devastating as the coronavirus requires heroes. And in this crisis, America's first responders are proving once again that that is exactly what they are. Tonight, New York showing its appreciation by lighting up buildings there in blue. Now, we're thankful to have a couple of these heroes joining us tonight to talk about how it's going. Retired Nutley, New Jersey Police Detective Steve Rogers, an emergency medical technician deployed to New York City, Madeline Wetterhall. Thank you both for being with us. Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Madeline, I want to start with you because what I understand is that you were part of this force that answered the call when FEMA said we're going to need more people here in New York. We've heard of emergency levels, record levels of calls to 911, ambulance calls, everything else. You're there on the front lines. Tell us what you're seeing, what this experience is like.
Yes, so my role here in New York City is an EMT on a 911 truck. So each day we get dispatched to different boroughs. Lately I've been running in the Brooklyn borough. And on any given day, we have a variety of different calls. So the calls that are being dispatched can be, well, we're hearing a lot of fever, cough calls come in. That's not necessarily the condition that we see when we respond to the call. We're getting lots of those. But in this pandemic, we're also getting a lot of other normal emergency calls, our normal emergency calls, such as cardiac calls, stroke calls, any sorts of trauma. We're seeing a lot of that as well. What I will say is something that I'm seeing on the front lines is when we take these patients to the different hospitals, we're seeing what we call a mass casualty incident. When I've been speaking with different FDNY and police officers around the city, they have been comparing this to 9/11. Other FEMA employees who have been to different FEMA operations, such as hurricanes, they've been saying that this is a mass casualty incident, and it's unlike something that they've ever seen before. One thing that's very different about this FEMA deployment is that there's so much uncertainty about what's going on. Here, the attacker is something that we can't see. And with that comes quite a bit of fear. That is what we're seeing on the front lines.
Yeah, the uncertainty and the anxiety, which I'm sure contributes to the calls with people who are very worried about their health. It causes all kinds of other stress on the body as well. Okay, so Steve, we're watching the numbers come in every day. The NYPD, it is amazing to see the people who are out there on the front lines. The enormous percentage of people who have been infected within the NYPD, because they've been out there on the streets this whole time, doing their jobs, protecting people across the city, responding to calls, and they've had a very high death toll as well. It doesn't stop them. They're still out there on the front lines every day doing their jobs, as officers do.
Yes, that's what they do. And I could tell you, Shannon, that President Trump's whole government response to this crisis that we are now engaged in has been very, very effective on local government levels, including cities such as New York. In fact, the response that he set up actually has been life-saving to first responders. And I'll give you an example. Before this crisis came to being here in this nation, police officers would respond to all types of calls, and many of those calls were where they would have to enter the homes of people, whether it be domestic violence or an aid to sick or whatever. Well, health departments were never allowed under certain laws and regulations to provide the police with any health crisis that the family in a particular home would be going through. But now that's all gone because health departments are now able to let police know that if someone in the house that they're responding to is infected or is quarantined as a result of this crisis, that is life-saving to the first responder.
Absolutely. I want to play something the president said today about all of you guys who are out there on the front lines.
We want to thank all of the heroes on the front lines as they fight to save American lives. We're at the top of the hill, pretty sure we're at the top of the hill, and now we're going downward.
Madeline, I know this is something that you trained for, and probably like every other first responder, I know you're very humble about it. But how does it feel to be called a hero, have the support of the president, and hopefully you feel of the American people as well?
Yes, we've been hearing that from people around, but I would like to say I don't think we're heroes. We are here, we're doing a job, we're doing it together. This is what we've signed up to do. We got into this profession because we want to help people. We never saw something like this coming, but now that it's here, we're doing our best to work together to get this job done.
Yeah. Steve, final word to you.
we're seeing in America the American spirit, their heart, soul, and spirit bounce back strong, and through prayer to God and working with each other, we're going to pull through this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do pray for every first responder out there and medical workers. I'm sure millions of Americans and people around the world are doing for you guys too. Please know that we go with you. Steve and Madeline, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.